Hi there. Today we're going to talk about the legendary pen tool. You love it, you hate it, but you just can't ignore it, so let's get started. We have this square right in front of us, so this is the most basic you can do with the pen tool. So grab the pen tool and starting from a corner, click once and hold shift to make your line straight, and click on the next corner and finish the square like that. So this is pretty simple, pretty basic, and I'm sure you know this much already, but this is not what we're here for. So let's move on to something slightly more complex. In fact, before we move on, let me also tell you about a nice little feature of Pen Tool, which is adding or deleting anchor points. So from the Pen Tool panel, select the Add Anchor Point tool. It's the tool with a little plus sign on it, and once your square is selected, click on any point which is not an anchor point already, and it will create an anchor point for you. You can adjust this new anchor point using the white arrow to adjust the shape. This feature is widely used, particularly in making logos or illustrations. To delete the anchor point, go to the Pen Tool panel again and select Delete Anchor Point tool, and just click once on the anchor point you want deleted and it will instantly be gone. Okay, so let's move to the drawing of this cute little elephant, and we need to trace this using our pen tool. Grab the pen tool and let's start from a corner. You can pick any corner, it doesn't really matter. Just remember that unlike the curvature tool, pen tool is all about clicking and dragging, but when you drag, try to drag to the direction of the next point or the curve you are headed to. So here I'm going to click on the pivot of the curve so that when I drag towards my direction, I get the curve I want, and I also get to go to the direction I want. Also ensure that your fill is set to none and the stroke is set to 1 or 2 points depending upon the stroke weight of the drawing you're tracing on, something that I missed. Another point to remember is to ensure using minimal anchor points, because the more anchor points you add, the more complicated and uncontrollable your tracing is going to be, so avoid adding anchor points where not necessary. Just remember that your target should be the pivot points of the curves and the direction to the next anchor point, which can be decided by your dragging. Now here I mistakenly clicked off of the drawing, so whenever something like this happens, before you release the mouse, just press the space bar and you shall see that the point will not be static anymore and you should be able to move it back to your drawing. When after I click, I get a curve that I do not want, like in this case, I can simply click once on the anchor point I just created, and you'll find that the forced curve is gone and it becomes more of a straight line. So just one click on the anchor point and it becomes a straight line for you to click and drag as per your requirement. Whenever you reach at a point like this where you have two ways and you're undecided whether to go right or left in your tracing, don't worry, you can always stop your tracing here and start afresh from the trunk, because eventually we can join the different parts using either the Shape Builder tool or the Live Paint bucket. To stop tracing at any point, press Command on a Mac or Control on a PC and click anywhere on the screen and you will be out of the pen tool. In a situation like this where the stretch is long and you need to change direction, hold Command on a Mac or Control on a PC and drag the handle to make it shorter, and you will find that the curve becomes manageable for you and you shall be able to change direction easily. Don't worry about these extended lines that we don't need. We can easily delete them later after we're done using the Live Paint bucket tool. A lot of time when different lines on a tracing are of different weight size, clicking on the line changes the current weight size of your stroke, which is why It is always advisable to avoid clicking on lines. In our drawing here, it is not such a big problem as our stroke weight is uniform throughout. Once your tracing is complete, it is best practice to use the smooth tool to smoothen certain areas you think were not smooth enough in your tracing. So click on Smooth tool, which is under Shaper tool in the toolbox, and then using the selection tool, select the lines you want to smoothen, and then select the Smooth tool once again, and just run it over the lines and you will find your lines are getting smoother. A point to remember here is that only the lines selected will be affected by the smooth tool, so ensure that you have them selected before using this tool. Now our tracing is complete and ready to be painted, so let's grab the Live Paint Bucket tool, which is sitting under the Shape Builder tool in the same panel, and choose a color from the swatches panel on the right and just click to paint. You can also pick a color from the drawing using the Option key on a Mac or Alt key on a PC, and then release the key to paint on your drawing. Okay, our drawing is now complete, so let's get rid of the extended unnecessary lines I spoke about earlier. So just under the Live Paint Bucket tool is the Live Paint Selection tool. Select it and click on the lines you want to delete to select them, and hit the delete key on a PC or backspace key on a Mac and the lines will be gone. To change the blunt end of the hair, select them all and then go to Stroke, and from the Profile drop-down menu, select the second option, which is pointed at both ends, and the hair will start to look more like hair. Alright, so we did quite a bit today. We learned about Pen Tool, different tricks of Pen Tool, we painted the cutie elephant here, we learned about Live Paint Bucket and Paint Bucket Selection tool. So I think you've had enough for today, so I'm gonna see you in the next one pretty soon. Signing off, thank you.